What's up, everybody? Tyson Roush. Let's talk Jets. Hope everybody's having an excellent weekend. The weather in New Jersey yesterday was beautiful, 70s and sunny. Today it's 40s and dreary, but warmer weather's on the way, so that's good news. In terms of the fundraiser, thank you so much for all the support. So far, over $4,000 raised with 2 weeks ago, which is remarkable, and I cannot be more appreciative. In terms of Jets content, I've been kind of slacking off a little bit because there's not really a lot to talk about. A lot of like mock drafts and things like that. But today, Mougey met the media. Tomorrow morning, Aaron Glenn met the media. So he tried to take out some news and notes from that. Mougey was interesting today where he said a lot of things we expected, but some we didn't. He started off talking about Justin Fields, and he's going to be the starting quarterback. No surprise there when you give him that kind of guaranteed money. But he also said, Tyrod will compete with him. Mentioned his, Fields' untapped potential, his, work ethic, his character, how they saw much improved play in Pittsburgh, which is exciting. I think all Jet fans, that's what you want to hear. That's what you want to see as they hit the field. If you can get, you hit lightning in a bottle with Fields, you may have your quarterback question answered for the next decade. In terms of other things, everybody always talking about now when you see teams like the Buffalo Bills re-signing all their own players, will the Jets follow that same trend with Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner? It seems like, based on Mougey's comments today, where they're going to be something they're going to deal with after the draft, not now. But then again, they've leaked absolutely nothing to the media, so for all we know, they could re-sign somebody tomorrow. But interesting to see that kind of like setting the expectation, like, come back to us in May. We'll talk about it. AVT will be playing guard. A lot of, over the last 2 months, we've been talking about how this offensive line going to be developed. Could you move AVT to right tackle, draft the guard, or wherever else? But he's staying at guard, which is probably his best position, if we're being honest. Then you're still in the market for a right tackle. They mentioned that Myers will push Tippmann at center, kind of preaching that, the competition mantra, which is great. Other than that, nothing really. Oh, Alan Lazard was interesting one where he said, they obviously want him on the roster. And I think we got to keep in mind right now is cutting him after June 1st has such a financial benefit, a huge cap savings by doing that right now they're trying to either restructure his contract or trade him. But they mentioned restructure. I think that's a lot of negotiating. And they said they want him on the team. But I think that's, let's have this conversation in June, mid-June, and see what the status is. They definitely need veteran help. I know they signed Josh Reynolds, but you need more talent in the wide receiver room. Lazard would make, I guess, some kind of sense. He's very inconsistent for my liking. I think it's I don't know, I would prefer that he left, but if they want to keep him at a cheaper cost based on what's available in the market out there, I think Tyler Lockett's still available, another couple other guys, but the market kind of dried up fast. And then you also got to figure, too, who the Jets draft. If they draft the receiver in the first couple of rounds, that would make Lazard expendable as well. So a lot of moving pieces. That's why it's hard to really kind of gauge this roster now in late March, where it could be more pieces added by August. But the one thing Mougey did say that I liked is they definitely targeted guys that were on like their second contract, the younger guys under 30, which is the youth movement. And that's what you want, young guys with like Justin Fields' untapped potential, and hopefully you evaluate well and you add these young prospects. So we'll see what happens. I wonder where Quincy Williams falls into this, where right now he is a guy that's outplayed his contract, all-pro linebacker, making, I think it's like $6 million this year to last year's contract, who could easily walk into the locker or the front office and say, listen, I want a new contract, give me new money, give me a new contract or trade me or whatever else. And I'm curious how he would fit in their mold of their future plans at linebacker. How do they want to use him in this defense? What his value is? Are they going to draft a linebacker? There's so many moving parts, and he's going to be, he's an interesting part, man. He's a vocal leader, guy that's loved in the locker room. While the Jets gained a lot of points by keeping Jamie and Sherwood, Quincy Williams is an interesting scenario there, especially with his brother on the team. So, other than that, not a lot to talk about. Obviously, I'm doing a bunch of interviews coming up, starting with Dom tonight, a couple beat writers, and a couple other analysts. So, stay tuned for that. I'm not a draft expert, so I try to bring them on to share their thoughts, and we can gauge our evaluations off that. So, have a great night, and I'll talk to you guys later.